Hi, this is Scott from Finger 11, and you are listening to We Go to 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
In the which tunes you present in the acoustic setting and which ones go in the electric set?
I think, there's always been two sides of Figure 11 if you listen to every record, maybe even more. But, we like some of the mellower stuff as much as like the heavy stuff.
Right.
So it's nice to kind of give those mellower songs a showcase without trying to crowbar them in between, maybe some of the louder songs.
Yeah.
So, it's nice to kind of give them their own section, and but we don't have enough to show, a crazy amount of time. So there's the opportunity to sort of take a song here or there and go, okay, well, what if we broke it down to its essential parts? What does it sound like? And we'll do that to songs we on this tour, and previous to this, we've broken down a song called Slow Chemical, which is a very, very heavy song. It's a big riff, big plodding, big rock song.
Okay.
And we just thought it sounded really kind of cool, and there's something kind of haunting about it, the way we do it acoustically. And we said, okay, well, that's good. Let's do that. We like to put some covers in, some acoustic covers every now and again. So there are songs that just find their way into that setting. And it's a really nice formal, or sorry, the exact opposite. It's a really nice informal way to start our show. We look at it as like we're opening for ourselves. We get to kind of say hi to the audience and get to know each other. And I try my best to be funny and fail over and over, and that's all part of the show. So once we get done, like, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes of that, the audience is kind of warmed up and then ready for a rock show. So it's my favorite thing to do. The acoustic sort of opened. It's great. So we've done it enough times where I think that the band really enjoys it, and it's a different side. Like, you might not know this part of Finger 11. I think we're known mostly for being a rock band, and it's fun. It's fun to kind of expose a different side of Finger 11.
Right. So I was gonna do a follow up on that. So it seems like fans, are more receptive to the acoustic stuff now, having gone through I think the MTV Unplugged thing kind of burned people out on that. But I think I've seen a lot more artists go back to the bare bones of the songs, and the fans are more receptive, I think, now to the acoustic reinterpretation of the songs. I mean, would you agree with that, or what's your thoughts on that?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if I can always read an audience properly every time, but I think what's nice is maybe if somebody's waiting, for, the heavier stuff, at least we're kind of, we're not going to waste your time. It's not all acoustic, all the way through.
Right.
But just because it's acoustic doesn't mean it's like, boring or unenergetic. And we try to be mindful of that as well. Right. So I think in the context of like, all right, listen, we're here, you're here, and we don't want to waste your time, and we're going to give you a show either way. It's just simply going to be at a slightly different volume level. So we're not here to put anybody asleep,
right?
So I hope that there's people enjoy it, and there's more. I love playing acoustic. And if the reception seems to be a positive one, so I hope we get to keep doing it.
Nice. Now, have you found that it's good to have that little bit of an intermission between the two sets? Like you said, it's almost kind of like you guys supporting yourselves or opening up for yourselves.
it's nice,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, you can kind of reset. You can literally physically reset the stage, and then everybody can go out and grab a beer,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're all set for the next phase. So it's nice, and it also, I mean, I joke about it every night where I tell people they're getting 2 shows, so they've only paid one low price.
Right.
But it's great, but these shows we're doing now, like we're playing in these very, very nice theaters, and there's a little bit of pressure that I feel where it's like, this is too nice a venue, like versus like a rock club with a PA that barely works. There's just these pristine dressing rooms everywhere, and since we've got the whole place to ourselves, since there's no opening band, it's very luxurious. So we feel very lucky in that regard.
Now, how much rehearsal time did this take for you guys to kind of, I guess, perfect what you guys are doing on this particular tour, be it the acoustic or the electric stuff? I mean, I'm guessing the electric stuff, unless you're throwing in some deeper cuts, probably you have to relearn some of those. But how long did you guys play around with that before you guys said, hey, we got something here and this is what we're going to go with?
Well, we got a few rehearsal sessions in, so it was a couple days of rehearsal. But it's like you mentioned, there's some songs that we've been playing all summer that just sort of needed a quick sort of checkup, and all right, can you remember how to play these? And there's a few songs that hadn't made the acoustic repertoire just yet. They're almost done, so I don't know what's going to happen. For instance, Unchick is in about 15 minutes.
Sure.
And maybe it'll be ready, but Figure 11 has suddenly gotten very busy. So we haven't rehearsed as much as we would like. So there's we're trying to put the finishing touches on a brand new record. And then, these dates kind of have arrived sooner than we expected. It's just, that's how fast time moves nowadays. But we put a few solid days of rehearsing into everybody felt good, and then there's a few songs where we've are not, they're almost ready. Maybe they'll be ready later. But the everything feels pretty solid right now, and there's the band feels confident, and there's a relaxed element to the band, and I hope that, people coming to the show, they're hearing at least most of what they've come to hear. We're a band that, well, for me personally, I like to go to a show and hear the songs that I recognize or that I might know, and Figure 11 is definitely aware of that. So those are, most of the hits are in the in the set list. But once we get going, we might play around a little bit here or there. But the band is feeling good about where we are, set list wise, performance wise, and look, we have all day for the stage, so if nothing changes, and we have a great crew, so we'll rehearse and sound check a little bit every single day, and that won't that'll just continue until this run is done.
Right. Out of curiosity, I mean, have you guys gotten any of these shows recorded, or is that not something that you guys want to get into, being that you have new material that's kind of in the works here?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know if the stuff is being recorded or not. We certainly don't have an external sound check or sound truck, so it's picking everything up. But I'm not sure if we have board mixes or not. That's a great question. We have a lot of live material that we haven't put out yet that may change very soon. But it's funny because sometimes you'll play a show and you think, oh man, I hope somebody recorded that. And sometimes you play a show and you hope that nobody recorded it. So
exactly.
I don't know. I'm not sure. So I'll be surprised as you are. It's fun to find the answer.
Now, what's the timetable for the new album? I know you guys released that single for Adrenaline, last year, but that's just the precursor for the full full length, right?
Yeah.
So what's the timetable on that at this point, or how far along are you? I know you said you're finishing it up. What's kind of a projected timetable on that?
Well, the recording will be finished by the end of March,
Ah,
and session will be closed, and that puts the album out. I would, the middle of this year.
okay.
It's not exactly up to me to decide
Sure.
when the album drops. That's a discussion between us and the label.
Yeah.
But first things first, got to get the album done. So we're, it's been a lot of fun playing these shows, but in the back of our minds, we're working on kind of two things at once. Putting finishing touches on this, scheduling vocal sessions, and then at the same time trying to put a show on. So it's and we've gotten so, like I said, we've gotten so busy so quickly, and it's great. It's very, very good to be busy. But as far as putting a release date on the album, I would guess the middle of this year.
It's still a pretty good timetable for summer shows and all that stuff. The question here is, I think these acoustic electric shows have all been in Canada so far, I believe, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So would you take that show with new material, I guess, to North America, back to Canada, United States, and abroad?
I would. I think the band would. The band likes the format. There's not there. We like to argue about everything.
Sure.
We just kind of, we do it more politely than we used to.
Right.
But there's not a conflict within the band saying, "Oh, we really enjoy the format." So if it works for everybody else, it definitely works for us. We go everywhere. Not a problem.
Nice. And I know, at least in the United States, I mean, you guys are known for one thing in Paralyzer, kind of two contrasting tunes, right? One's got more of an acoustic thing, the other one's got this huge electric groove to it. What do you think is a song off the top of your head that you think slots in right in between those?
Let's say something like, I don't know. I think we have a song called "Falling On," which is,
yeah,
it's up tempo, but it's got a nice melody. It's not, it's not standoffish or anything. Right. It's not aggressive. So maybe there, like Finger 11 is an interesting place to be sonically. Where we were a new metal band, then we were a ballad band, then we were a disco rock band, and that's all fine. We're just going to try to make the best stuff possible, and now we just make the stuff that makes us happy.
Yeah.
And every so often, everybody else kind of agrees.
That's cool.
Every so often.
Now, we need to plug the greatest hits. I mean, even though that was released a little bit ago, but how involved were you guys in that? Because again, I think when a band starts out, I don't think they think that far ahead. At some point we're going to have to put together a greatest hits type package or whatever. How involved were you guys? And is there something that didn't make it, a particular tune that you're like, that should have been on there?
It was a really nice opportunity, like to have the, to come to a point in time in our career and to say, okay, let's do a greatest hits. It made us pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We were very hands-on about it. We were hands-on about all the artwork. James did everything. And, Rick has always obsessed about the track listing of things. And when it came time to shortlist songs, yeah, there were some songs that had to stay off, and I can't remember. They were kind of heartbreaking, but we had some metrics, and we said, well, look, this was a bigger hit, than that hit. So how do you could make a case, but like, hey, this was a bigger song. What are you gonna do? So, we let that sort of steer the ship a little bit, but then also, everything we make, it's like, okay, well, look, the idea will be, what if somebody sits down and, wants to listen to something front to back,
Right.
the way, we used to listen to music. And so, we tried to set that up in a meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I'm just glad we had enough songs to kind of fill a whole record. I'll look at some songs, like, there's some failed singles where I'll go like, that should have been.
Right.
Sometimes, time will go by and you'll go like, oh, I understand why that song didn't work.
Yeah.
But, there's the last record we put out, there's a song called Not Gonna Be Afraid.
Mm-hmm.
We saw, oh, this could, maybe that was going to be a song that resonated with people. And we put it in our acoustic set and people seemed to enjoy it, but certainly wasn't like, didn't get its moment in the sun, as far as like the single goes. And that's okay.
You got a couple minutes for one more question and then I'll cut you loose. Thanks so much, man.
Sure.
So this will be for We Go to 11. If you know We Go to 11, it's a Spinal Tap reference.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a particular story you can share off this tour that might have been Spinal Tap-esque?
Well, I'll tell you, there's every single, we're playing these nice theaters, and every single one is built a little different. If you go to like a rock venue, you maybe know what to expect.
Right.
Theaters are full of little rooms and levels and elevators, and there was a moment on this tour where it was time for me to hit the stage, and it's just a labyrinth, right? And so you find yourself in like, okay, well, this doesn't look like a dressing room. I'm going down this corridor, and all of a sudden it now looks like a boiler room, so I need to find my way out as soon as possible. And I love those Spinal Tap moments because, the more you go, the more you stay in the rock business. That's all it is. You're just ticking boxes,
Right.
We are the world's most punctual band. We do not like to be late.
Right.
And, that's another thing we share with Spinal Tap. We're known for our punctuality.
Nice. Hey, Scott, thanks so much.